All right, we're on, baby. We're now on live. I'm enjoying this track. Now I'm gonna play another track. I'm just jamming here, getting ourselves ready. I think people are outside doing this and that. This is a Record School Back to School edition. I'm gonna be joined very shortly by someone that I admire, who's gonna be having a chat with me. The brother Gil Masuda, aka Astro, founder of Love Touch Records. You know, we're gonna be playing records and talking about his label and the artists that he works with and the festival that he went to and who he is, how he gets down, how he produces his music. So I'm trying to do my homework. I was fortunate enough to get the whole collection. Let me rewind this one. Woo, because this one, which is called Love Me Right by MIA, has some beautiful bongos on it, and I'm a big fan of percussion, bongos, congas. I'm like, yo, this is the MX Middleton mix, the MX Middleton remix. Who's MX Middleton? Who's MX Middleton? I don't know. I gotta know. So, oh, what up, Gil? What up, Gil? I'm just. Yes, sir. Via request. Okay, he's knocking on the door. Hey, what up, sir?
What's up?
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm going to do this right. Welcome to the first Record School Back to School one-on-one. I'm very happy to have Gil Masuda has joined us right now with the live. So I know Gil. I first knew him as DJ Astro, as a member of the illustrious Circle Research Turntable production crew and DJ crew. This was when I was, I get, as an early DJ trying to figure it out. And then there's people that you admire, especially in the city, such as, the Turntable Monks starting from scratch, and, everybody who was in Play the Record, from Jason Palma to DJ Sirius. And Circle Research was one of those people, and I was always like, how do they figure it out? And we'll get into that. And I want to give you credit for having your own 12 inches in stores back from the early 2000s, and now you've developed into a record producer with your own label. And so I'm very honored to have you here as someone that I've watched from afar, and now I've reached out, and you've always been a gracious dude ever since me running into you at record shows. I was telling my wife that when the great Son of Soul passed away, and certain people had the privilege of going into his home and buying some records from his collection, you were actually there. I don't know if you remember that, and I remember you scooped up that Donny Hathaway record. I was like, man, this guy's always a step ahead, but you were still cool.
I think I remember that.
And on. So welcome,
Yeah.
Gil Masuda, aka DJ Astro, aka Mr. Gil Masuda.
Thanks for having me. Rest in peace, Son of Soul. Big ups to all of the DJs that you mentioned. There's just so many local DJs that influenced me, of course.
Yeah, I got tongue tied.
Table Monks, definitely. Like, we were coming up around the same time during the whole turntablism era, and yeah, those guys were awesome. Yeah, it's good to be part of the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel? I mean, you seem like I take you as a very humble guy. Every time I've met you, you're a pretty humble, chill guy, down to earth. You even you were so gracious to do this interview with me. And so my perspective is always like, I look up to DJs who have put in a lot of work and who have a lot of skill. I always, look up to them as heroes. Someone was like, are they gonna be cool? You've always been very cool. I appreciate that. But how does it feel for you? Do you feel like you are one of the legendary DJs in the Toronto scene, especially the Toronto hip hop scene? Does it feel like you're a big superhero, or does it feel?
I don't feel like that at all. It's kind of weird, actually, when you describe me that way. I've always just been like, dedicated to the craft of DJing, and, record collecting and all that nerdy stuff, producing. I never really thought of myself as a superhero or anything like that or anything close to it. You know what I mean? Just, I'm just a lover of music, and I just wanted to make music and share it with other people. And it's cool to see that I had that effect on people for sure. Like when I meet people at a party or whatever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I used to listen to the Circle Research show religiously."
Right.
That really kind of it makes me feel good that I had an effect on people back then.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, you definitely do.
You have
And
to understand, like back then, we were all super young. I was like, I want to say 15 years old when I started doing the Circle Research show. And we
it's
started
amazing.
at like 5 a.m. to 7. I would literally go from the radio station, drive my friends home, and go straight to school, to high school.
Yeah.
So it was like a coming of age kind of thing. And those years are always like the most precious, looking back.
Yeah, 100%. And they build a foundation. And I was talking to, oh my God, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I was talking to, a good friend of mine earlier today. I was asking him about Circle Research. He's a few years older. He's like, of course I know Circle Research. Yeah, legend. So, I think you and your participation in that movement, it was so special. It's almost like a stretch in Babito, right? So you were 15. This is in the mid-90s. This is when hip-hop was so precious and it was not widely available as it was right now. And so I think probably, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but people who were listening, they appreciated that.
No, totally. It was literally like we were at the right place at the right time.
I was going to say, how did you even start it?
Yeah, so we had linked up with the Cryptic Souls crew, which DJ Sirius was a part of.
Yes.
Planet P, and so they already had a radio show on CKLN called Stylistic Endeavors.
Oh, that show made me feel really, really small. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'll tell you why. Because my experience is I moved to Toronto in 1999, went to York University, and my whole world was opened up to vinyl and rare groove, right? And digging for samples, right? And so listening to Stylistic Endeavors, maybe at 21 years old, I'm like, wait a minute. I understood how to go and buy 12 inches and everything, but like, how do these guys have all the samples too? Like, and I would say to myself, where did
DJ Sirius, man? He was like the whiz when it came to that. He had all the records, even back then, that even to this day are hard to find. So
another very humble guy too.
Yeah, for sure. But
So, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, like, honestly, it was just like right place at the right time. It was a really good time for community radio. There was a burgeoning local hip hop scene happening, and we were just there to basically witness it and provide an outlet for all the local artists to come by the show, bring their 12-inch single that they pressed up, or promote their party, at the Lions Bar or whatever. And it was really just more than this. It was the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? Like, we were just one small part of the whole thing. There was CKLN, there was CIAT, CHRY. Like, there were amazing radio shows like almost every night of the week, really, that you could tune into and listen to underground music, which was obviously there was no outlet on commercial radio for that at the time. So it was really just, we just did the best we could, and people loved it. Like, we had a huge following, and it was really just, it was a combination of the music we were playing, the hosts were super funny and personable,
right.
and the guests that we were bringing on. So it was kind of that formula that just worked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of parallel to what Stretch and Bobbito did in New York City, or like, for example, in Windsor, I would listen to this show called The Rap Blast. which was on a Detroit radio station. But yeah, I mean, and then, you know, there's a famous DJ called Electrifying Mojo, and you have these legendary DJs that spread the music, you know, to their listeners in such an authentic, organic way, decades before, you know, it was available through streaming like it is now. So, you know, hats off. I want to get into details too, because I'm always curious about the money side of things, right? Now, on one hand, I think I first heard about you guys, Circle Research, just around, and then I saw your 12-inch, which was the Speak and Spell 12-inch.
Yeah.
So, how did you afford to put out your own 12-inch and even buy records and stuff back then when you're in your teenage years? Not to get into your business, but I'm just curious. That's my curiosity.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I had a part-time job ever since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
Stock boy at Hasty Market.
Right.
And I literally spent my first whole paycheck on records. I went to work the next day and I didn't even have enough money to buy lunch, you know? So I was like hooked at an early age of DJing. I just wanted to learn how to scratch, and so I just basically spent all the money that I made at my job.
What up, Ross Simmons? What up, Bombay? What up, everyone in the chat?
Yeah, what up, Bombay? So
we have a legend in the building. Bombay's on tomorrow night, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to catch that. And so basically, we were just getting booked to do a lot of gigs back then, like every weekend. REMG Entertainment had some, you know, something going on, and we would be, you know, the opening DJs. Right. And Cryptic Souls was putting on a lot of shows back then, and everyone was kind of paying fairly, and we would just show up, we'd do our thing, and before you know it, we had like the Circle Research account was building, because we wouldn't take the money, we would keep it in an account so that we could afford to buy stuff like turntable cases, you know, like I remember we played a gig at Lions Bar and Planet P was like, here's your pay for the night, take this money and invest in some turntable cases, because we were literally carrying our bare turntable 1200 like
I can relate to that. Before I had turntable cases, I'd wrap money in a t-shirt or a towel or something.
And so what did we do? We bought the nicest turntable cases you could buy, butterfly locks and everything.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
To this day,
here we go. Here comes the turntable case. This is.
Boom.
That's how you know it's in the blood. There you go.
To this day,
I
still have them, and I still use them. I literally use them on Saturday. So, like, one of the best investments and one of the best pieces of advice I got as a young DJ. So it's just really about being smart with the money that you're making. It's not a lot of cash, but you know, it accumulates. And there were 3 of us in the crew at the time, and you know, it was kind of a no-brainer to just, instead of each person gets $33 each, just put that $100 aside and then you know, use it for something greater later.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. I mean, and not everybody has that business sense. I mean, and I think it's excellent if you can combine one with the other. And last week we were talking about that video that I think a lot of us saw where you and Nix were touring your studio. And now it's essentially just you giving a video tour of your studio, and you have all the mouth watering equipment. You have the micro corks and the MPCs and those core chaos pads, and I think you might even have a Rode. Am I correct?
We had the Rode. We had a Leslie. We had all kinds.
Where's the Rode? I need to know. Is it in the studio?
Yeah, of course.
Stop.
There's the Rhodes. So
that's the business sense right there, man. Saving your pennies. The Fender Rhodes.
These are like investments that, you know, I've had that Rhodes, I want to say 20 years.
So that's an interesting thing though. So I don't know, I'm not going to try to boost your ego, but maybe you do have a bit of a sage-like quality, because the other DJs and producers were not investing in Rhodes keyboards 20 years ago. Maybe they got a Phantom, or maybe they got a Whip, or you know what I mean?
To be honest, I was investing in a lot of different things, new school and old school equipment, but mostly it was the vintage sound that I was after, you know,
right?
That 70s funk and all that stuff, and soul.
The timeless sound.
exactly, the timeless sound. So I knew that investing in these instruments, I wouldn't lose money on it. If anything, they would appreciate, and they did appreciate a lot. And there are pieces that I regret selling, like a Lin drum, for example. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, you know, you live and learn. And so what I've learned is don't ever sell anything that makes a sound or passes a sound, because that's worth more.
Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. I'm having trouble with the audio. Hold on. The audio. Time out. Time out. You're dropping some
Sorry
nice
about that.
melody. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
You just dropped a beautiful bar there. You said don't ever sell anything that makes a sound. That's the bottom
exactly.
line.
Yeah, because it's worth more to you if I create one song with an instrument, it becomes invaluable, you know?
100%.
That becomes part of your legacy, part of your sound.
Yo, your sound cut off one more time. This video app. Okay,
Sorry about that. I had to plug my phone in. Um,
I get it. I get it.
what I
But
was
yo,
saying
you're
was like,
dropping too much knowledge,
yeah,
man. You are, because you're being quite philosophical, which is really impressive. Because at least I'm happy that I was happy to hear you say that you, you sold some things that you regret to sell, because okay, that brings you down to a level of making some mistakes that I think a lot of us can relate to. Because I've done the same thing, because I'm like, yo, let me flip this and get something else because I'm impatient and I want to get more gear. So for example, I had the SP404, which is it's I guess we can now say it's a classic sampler drum machine. That's the first piece of gear that I got, and I sold it, and now I have some other gear. I haven't sold anything else, but I do regret not having my SP404.
right.
You know what I mean? So I can relate.
So you can buy it back, you know what I
Yes.
mean? But like you have to remember, these things, they're living, breathing things, you
There you
know?
go.
Like you can get the plugin, and I use a lot of plugins
Mm-hmm.
uh, in my productions, but nothing touches an actual analog electromechanical instrument.
Yeah.
Like there's a magic in the sound that you can't recreate in digital. Not to say that, you know, digital is whack or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
because it has its uses too. But when you have the, you know, the opportunity to use the real thing, it's it's amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. I want to get into the production that you've been doing. Um, what's just let me ask, just what's your do you have a favorite instrument, your favorite piece of gear? Since we can wrap up the gear conversation. Is it
You know
not the
what?
Rhodes?
Probably the roads. It's probably the thing that I still use most often
Uh-huh.
in my productions, for sure.
And how hard do you work on learning to play the piano, the keys?
Not very hard, to be honest with you. I took a little bit of piano lessons in my early
Mhm.
20s, but it's funny story. I decided that if I bought a Rhodes, I would be more inspired to play every day and practice.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
I stopped having the lessons. In hindsight, it was a stupid move, because if I had kept on with the lessons, I could always got in the Rhodes down the line. But I wanted to justify to myself to
Okay.
buy this new toy. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
But
Right.
yeah, um, I the first instrument that I played was trumpet. Um,
Nice.
and but I don't really dedicate a lot of time to theory. Like I know a little bit
Okay.
to get me by,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Mm-hmm.
I'll go online and find out, oh, what are the chords in, you know,
Right,
E
right, right.
minor or something like that.
That's one of the benefits of technology now. Is that okay, you can
Exactly,
get the chords and just get it in,
exactly. So
record and repeat.
that's mainly what I do. I just go online and get a little help along the way. If sometimes I'll, you know, if there's a song that I'm really digging, I'll go online and find out what the chords are for the song,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll reinterpret those chords in a different order and make my own song.
Cool, cool,
You
cool,
know,
cool, cool. Love
I'll do
it, love
stuff
it.
like that too.
Speaking of making your own songs, that's a good segue. You've made your own label. So let me just shout you out. Now, I want to make sure I pronounce all the names right. This is the 7-inch called Fired Up from Maya Kiltron.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big up my
I think,
Keltron.
big up my Kiltron. I think I don't. I have almost the whole collection. I think there's some pieces that are missing. This is, I think, my favorite release from Love Touch. Amalia. This is the Don't Be Ashamed 7-inch
Don't be
with
ashamed of
In
love.
My Bed.
Yep. Yep.
All right. This is I Got Your Back featuring Saucy Lady by who's this by? It just says
Well, it's Love Touch Family, which is
uh,
basically because
that's
Saucy
like the Death Row
Lady.
family or the No Limit family. This is a compilation. Every dope
Exactly.
label has to have a compilation.
You know it.
This is
Well,
the
yeah,
one.
Saucy Lady, she's already an established artist. She's been working with a lot of different labels.
Dope.
And so Love Touch Family is kind of a chance for her to do something for us, but have it as a separate entity from her own stuff. Because she produces all of her own stuff.
Okay.
And she's a sick producer as well. But
This is
since
so
I
hip
produced
hop.
the
It's like
track, that's how we differentiate it.
okay. I'm just thinking like it's like Wu-Tang. Then you had the Wu-Tang Killer Bees.
Exactly.
That's how it started. Then the original crew, the Precious Lows.
Yeah, yeah.
I was listening earlier. Oh well, let me just. And then the last one I got is am I saying MIA or Maya or Mia?
It's Maya. Sorry,
Okay.
it's Mia.
Mia, because I'm like,
Yeah,
it
it's
can't be
Maya
MIA.
Keltron. It's Mia. Two different artists.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you which one I should play first, but I'm gonna tell you, and then this is the Precious Lows, formerly the grown-up version of Circle Research.
Exactly. The Precious Lows featuring Maylee Todd. Can't forget her.
Can't forget Maylee Todd. And big up good music because she record not good music, do-right music, because that's right. she records on do-right music and
exactly
John Kong.
And she's now on Stone's Throw, actually.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good for Maylee. We're proud of her. So, can I play this one first?
Yeah. You go ahead and play it. I'm gonna figure out my iPhone situation because I think I'm not sure if it's actually plugged in. So my screen's gonna turn black for a second. But you do your thing.
Okay. Gil's still here. I'm gonna play the Precious Lows featuring Maylee Todd. The reason I'm gonna play this one first is because our brother Gil actually does vocals on this one, and I was trying to think about who does he remind me of on his vocals, but maybe he doesn't remind me of anybody. Okay, here we go. You do vocals with Maylee on this one. You still there? You with us? Okay, let me just run it. We had a little block party last Friday with the neighborhood kids, and they were enjoying it. Yes, sir. I just want to get to your part.
When we met, didn't think you were my type of girl.
Okay, this is you. This is Mr. Gil.
You got me. You got me. Yeah, it's me.
That's dope. Man of infinite talents.
It's me with a lot of auto-tune. What can I say?
You know what? I really like it.
Oh, thank you.
I like it. This is I prefer this verse to Maylee's verse. Maylee's dope,
okay.
But I Are you gonna do more vocals?
I don't plan to. Now that I'm actually working with amazing singers, I feel like I don't really need. Before it was necessity, you know. We needed a vocal on the song, so I did the vocal. And Nick also was doing vocals back then too. But now we actually don't. We have this amazing caliber of artists that we can draw from and work with. And they actually want to work with us. So it's a no-brainer.
That's very West Side Gun of you.
Oh yeah.
What I mean by that is because, okay, out of the Griselda crew, he's got the most, I would say, swag and personality, but he's my least favorite MC. And they interviewed him one time, like, West Side Gun, how come you never do the freestyles like Benny the Butcher and Conway? He's like, because I don't need to, because I do other stuff.
Exactly.
That's what I mean by that. This is the track that I really like because I love the remix and the congas and the bongos on it.
Oh
the
yeah, okay. So
XL
it's XL
Middleton.
Middleton. Yeah.
Big
I
up
think
XL Middleton. Who is XL Middleton?
XL Middleton is a force to be reckoned with. He's basically one of the most prolific West Coast producers, rappers, singers. He's one of the pioneers of the modern funk scene. He's the
Oh,
founder of Low Funk Records, which is arguably the the biggest modern funk label in the world.
wow.
And yeah, he's based in Pasadena, California. He's been making funk music for a long time, and yeah, he's one of the OGs. So it was
There
truly
you
an
go.
honor to get him to do a remix for my label.
Dope. And thank you for everyone that's joined us. This is pretty impressive. We got Gil, not Gil, Gil
My
Masuda.
my mother-in-law
Um,
joined us. What's up, Jen?
what up? What up?
Jen Loft in the
So
house.
now modern funk, I guess is that the genre that you fall into? Because I thought like it's kind of like boogie, but sometimes genres and labels they just come
Right.
so fast.
I call it modern funk and boogie.
Okay, cool.
As a DJ, I mainly play boogie from like the 80s, and that's the kind of music that I'm trying to make.
Right, right.
But it also falls into the modern funk genre as well.
Who are some other modern funk artists? Because I think I was following you, and I'll give myself credit. I pay attention, right? So I think it was one of your mixes, which was a modern funk mix, and I think you had Krungbin on there and some other artists. And I was like, okay, modern funk. I'm like, because I still listen to a lot of old stuff, but I'm like, okay, obviously I know Krungbin, I have their records, but I don't know any of these other artists, except for maybe Dame Funk. So
Mhm.
so who, or maybe even Tuxedo, right?
Right.
But who are some other modern funk artists that you
Yeah,
would
so
recommend?
basically you just named two of the biggest
Yeah,
modern funk artists, Dame
right.
Funk and Tuxedo,
Yeah,
two of the most successful. There's a whole
right.
community
And then
worldwide.
Chromeo, of course.
Of course, you can't forget Chromeo.
Can't
Um,
forget Chromeo.
and yeah, there's a whole community worldwide that's making this kind of music. France, Italy, Japan, of course the U.S.,
Yeah,
Canada,
yeah.
and so there's a scene, and it's really good to be part of the scene because there's so much talent,
Hmm.
and it's kind of we've found our own niche. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's dope.
Especially
That's dope.
me here in Canada
Yeah,
making this kind of music. There's not a lot of other artists that are
right.
doing it, and I feel like finding that niche, especially for Love Touch Records, has helped a lot, and really focusing and zoning in on something that other labels here in Canada aren't really doing, and I think that's really helped.
How did you start the label? I want to play the record, but let me get the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did you start the label?
So I had been collaborating. Me and Nick had been collaborating with other artists.
Mix the fingerprints.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
And they were actually doing the producing because we had our little funk beats going on, but it was more kind of sample based
Yeah,
funk.
of course. Yeah.
And so we caught the attention of a few funk producers like Tyler Smith and this label in France called Diggy Down Records.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to work with us. And so at the time we weren't actually producing the funk music. I was writing the songs and doing the vocals.
Okay.
And these releases were getting pressed up on vinyl.
Oh, dope.
So, but because they're in France, they were in Japan getting pressed up. I wanted the DJs in North America to be spinning it. So I was like, okay, send me as many copies as you can. Send me like 30 copies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hustling them all basically through my little network on Instagram
Right.
of DJs in North America that I knew might be interested in it. And so before you know it, I had kind of grew my network of DJs, and they were supporting my music. So the next logical step was to start my own label.
Yes, sir. And when was that?
That's how it started.
What year was this that you started, that you figured, okay, now let's take the step to start Love Touch?
So Love Touch started in 2019. And before that, I was doing like a lot of, I'm super into like obviously men's style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was using Instagram as kind of I was following a lot of that kind of stuff.
You're a
And that
very,
was my
very
main.
well dressed DJ. You're a very well dressed person. I never
Thank
seen
you.
you off point.
Thanks.
So, and I'm sure you hear that a lot. You can tell this guy puts effort into it.
Yeah, it's just one of my interests, you know.
Mhm.
And but I felt like I had taken a backseat with the music a little bit because I was focusing so much on this.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of 2019, I basically decided, I told myself, I just want to focus on music because music is the only thing that brings me true joy, you
There
know?
you go. I feel that.
Not like a new pair of shoes, not like a nice blazer. It's making music. That's what really makes me happy. And when I'm not making music, I'm not happy. So I figured that out, and basically I decided to just go full steam ahead with music. And I told myself, I'm not going to turn down anything this year. If someone asked me to DJ or do a production or work together, I didn't turn down anything. And I think that really helped get the ball rolling with the music.
Right. Well, yeah, man, I think you are off to a very impressive start because there is I think hip hop people in Toronto who love it and who participate it are connected to a sense of community on a lot of different levels. So, for example, I have another 7-inch here. This is by Big Jax. You know Jax?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Big
what
up
I've
Big
noticed,
Jax.
big up Big Jax and big up Bozak and the Black Rap crew.
Yes.
There's a community of DJs now who are putting out their own stuff. So that's why I hold this 7-inch here, because I mean what you're doing is inspiring, but it's part of a movement, right? That that's growing in our city. Okay, let me just play this XL Middleton joint. So did he send you the track or send it to Mia? Is that the way it went? Where he came down and
I already had a relationship with XL because he'd come to Toronto a bunch of times. And
I'm just gonna cut you off just to play the drums.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go. Ooh. Whoa. It's so funny because with this music, maybe every track you play, it's like, okay, this reminds me of this classic and this classic and this classic and this classic. It's probably just like endless combinations.
Well, yeah, because it's all the stuff that we're inspired by, right? But just to tell you a little story about XL, so it was actually another local DJ and promoter, DJ Famously from Love Handle.
I know that name. Yeah.
He's like another true triple OG DJ.
Absolutely, yeah.
And record collector and mentor. I mean, I have to really thank him for introducing me to this whole scene. He basically said, "Hey, I'm bringing this artist named XL Middleton. He's playing." It was Holyoke Cafe on Bloor Street.
Yep.
So it was this tiny cafe. He played like on a Sunday afternoon, and I went to go check it out, and I was blown away. It was the first time I had seen modern funk with like crazy synthesizer solos played live right in front of me. And there was like 6 people in the cafe watching, like all like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the first time I had met XL, and he'd come up a few times after that. And of course, I was always at his shows, supporting, buying vinyl every time he came up. And so we had a relationship over the course of a few years, and he was ordering the Love Touch stuff for his record shop down in LA. So it was natural to ask him to do a remix eventually, and he was totally on board, and he delivered.
So I love it. Speaking of LA, and I'm gonna let you go soon. You recently were in LA with Amalia, right?
With Mia.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Was it with Mia? I'm sorry. So this was one of the joints that you performed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track of your progress. I mean, you're moving fast. But I wanted to play this one too because we played this last Friday. I came home. I'm like you in terms of the music has to be playing, it has to be part of the everyday experience. So I got a turntable set up outside, and so me and some of the neighborhood kids and my wife, we were jamming to it. I'm just gonna play it for a second, and then we'll talk about LA, and then I'll let you get on with your life, man. Here we go. Now wait a second. Were you inspired by Grace Jones, My Jamaican Guy, for the opening chords? Sampled by LL Cool J for doing it?
You know what? Probably
Subconsciously,
for
maybe?
sure. I There's another track from I think One Way that actually Big Jax was like, "Hey, was that inspired by this song?" And I listened to it. I'm like, "Whoa, it's like eerily similar."
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, obviously when I'm making music, it's a culmination of all of the songs that I've listened to, studied. Every time a record is on, I'm studying that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard to
yeah.
hold a conversation with someone because all I'm doing is listening to the music. Like
Yeah.
I can't have a conversation at a cafe or at a bar if music is playing in the background. It's really
Good for
hard for
you.
me to concentrate
Respect.
because most of my attention is going to the music. My wife can probably attest to that, but much to her chagrin. But
No, man, shout out to the wives. Shout out to my wife who's watching too.
yeah,
Because having a good woman behind you, it really helps, right? Because
you know
sometimes
it.
it can clash, especially
You know it.
if music is in you. It's actually something that you said earlier. You said music is the only thing that brings you true joy. And I was thinking, well, for me, I'm like that, but my wife and kids bring me true joy.
Of course,
I'm like,
yeah.
your wife and kids be like, yo, how come
But
I'm second fiddle?
that's another category of
I
true
get
joy.
it.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
And that was you. That was you on the keys, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me run it one more time. I'm outside, so my neighbors get to hear too.
Yeah. I just want to make music that sounds like music. And it
Yeah.
sounds cheesy or I don't know. I don't have much interest in creating something brand new. I want to create something that's familiar because that's the
Dope,
shit I like.
dope. And it also has a bit more roots, I would say, in terms of this kind of music, whether it's vintage or it's based on a classic sound, it has a structure and a feeling that comes from passion. It comes from really advanced and beautiful musicianship, whether it's like Stevie Wonder or Grace Jones or all that kind of stuff. So it's like you're carrying on an amazing tradition. How was the LA Music Festival that you performed at?
It was incredible.
What was
It
it
was
called, by the way?
incredible. It was called Hit the Switches, put on by Hello Stranger.
Hit the Switches
And
Festival.
yeah, so the performers were amazing. The event itself was a little bit underattended,
Mm-hmm.
but it was because it was a huge event. There was like 4 stages,
Okay.
and it was at the Santa Anita racetrack. So it took like literally like 8 minutes to walk from one stage to the other. So
Okay.
like, I clocked like 15,000 steps in a day
Dope.
to give you an idea. But yeah, it was amazing. It was a great experience. I got
It's
to
a
meet.
milestone for you guys, right? For
Yeah,
Love
oh,
Track?
definitely. Our first LA show, Mia's first LA show. Hopefully not the last, but it went really well. She had a really good response. So yeah, it was a success.
Dope. Listen, I'm gonna let you go soon because I want to be mindful of your time. Now, with this being the Record School Back to School interview, I have a couple rapid fire questions. The first one is, I got some records here. I'm gonna ask everybody this question in the interview. What is your favorite Sade song?
Ooh, that's
right?
so
It's not a good
hard.
question. That is a dynamite question.
Okay,
That's
that is a great
dynamite
question.
No judgment. No judgment. I'm just
I want to say the first one that comes to my mind is "Hang On to Your Love."
nice.
Yeah.
See? Respect. I'm in that vein too. Like I'm kind of pre Love Deluxe. My favorite is Stronger Than Pride.
Okay. Yeah.
But
So
Hang
that
On to Love
one
is dope.
and Your Love
Respect.
is King. Your Love is King. That's probably number 2 for me.
Hell yeah. It's a big conversation, but there's something about those early albums. Well, they're amazing, and they are a little bit overshadowed. So big up. We can talk more about that after. Second one is so this is Record School. School spelled with a K, representing for knowledge and comedic knowledge. So what comes to mind when you think of KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions? Because it's inspired by that.
Sound of the Police, boom bap, original rap, hip hop versus rap, friggin', yeah, My Philosophy, all of that. I had all of those records, legendary stuff for sure.
Yeah. You had them. I hope you didn't get rid of them.
Bridge is Over. Like, you couldn't go to a jam in Toronto back in the days without hearing Bridge is Over and people going insane,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you, man. What are you promoting, or where can people find you? Where are we directing the viewers?
LoveTouchRecords.com. Follow me on Instagram at LoveTouchRecords. We've got a lot more in store for you in 2022, including some album releases and hopefully some shows if we can get through this pandemic. So we'd love to see you out. We'd love to see you giving us a follow, listening to the tunes, streaming, and sharing and all that stuff.
Okay, appreciate this, Gil. So this is going to be also posted on recordschool.com, school spelled with a K. And big up, I'll be in touch, man. Thank you so much.
Right.
Have a great night.
Thank you for this
I'm
opportunity.
going to stay online. All right, peace, man.
All right, peace.
Peace. I'm going to play some more records. I'm going to play one more Love Touch because we didn't get to, we got to hear the Maya. We didn't get to hear the Love Touch family featuring Saucy Lady. So that was Gil. Masuda from Love Touch Records. Again, legendary DJ from Toronto, someone that I'm inspired by. Thank you for supporting. I have another interview tomorrow that I'm going to go promote. It's with a brother named Bombay, who is somewhat of a newcomer, but super talented, just like Gil, and they know each other already. And I'm going to be interviewing him. So please check out Record School at Instagram. I also have 2 other Instagram accounts, Records with My Daughters, and It's Been So Nice. And so I'm going to be posting all day tomorrow. I want to give a shout out to Gil, also to Hey Bombay, also to Leah who did the flyers, and also to Ola, of course, Ola Mascola from Sonic Fold for helping to repost this interview, or no, repost the flyer and helping to spread the word. So let me play some joints. Thank you for tuning in. Style and Michelle and Dena and Masuki. Here we go. So I'm going to turn off the live now. Peace.